So we have Alaya here today, and you've been contemplating a new topic.
Yes, I
for how long now?
More and more momentum behind it for the last 2 months.
For the last 2 months.
Yes.
You've been meditating, contemplating, digging in, and
for 2 months it's been pretty much just this.
So, what triggered you to start diving? First of all, what's the topic and what triggered it?
Okay, the topic is understanding the mind.
Yeah.
And thought forms and how they affect our mind, our emotional body, and our physical body, and how our thought forms actually plug into us and feed off of us, and how we also are a part of the collective consciousness, and our own negativity or positivity is also plugged in, so that we're all feeding the collective consciousness with our thoughts.
Yeah.
So it's been an incredible journey to shift my whole perspective of what my mind is and what is thought and what's the difference. And of course, I've always been about the heart, but when I saw that we were just inundated with negativity, when COVID hit, I realized that no matter in what place your heart was, our minds could not balance all the negative thoughts and fear that we were being bombarded with, fire hosed with every single day of our life.
In the collective, yeah.
Yes, and individually.
It becomes individual, yeah.
And it becomes a collective.
Yeah. And so, but what triggered you to go into this topic?
What triggered me was when we first went into COVID, I realized that I was really losing my balance. And I was upset, I was getting depressed, I was getting, I felt like I couldn't turn anywhere, I couldn't listen to any kind of media without being terrified.
Yeah.
And I go, my gosh, I never realized that our minds are so fragile. That it's not only our hearts, but our minds are suffering. It was like, really is palpable, the suffering of the mind. And that, therefore, I started to turn to the mind. And I had always looked at what is thought, ever since I was in meditation that day and I heard there's one source of all disease. There's one thought that is the source of all disease, and that thought is, I am not loved.
So thoughts can be powerful.
Yes, and it made me think, if I were an alien and I wanted to come and I wanted to conquer humanity, all I'd have to do is convince them that they are not loved.
Yeah.
And they would fold.
Yeah.
And then they would.
And that they are their minds.
Yes. Yes. Because what happens is we have a negative thought, and then we believe that we are that thought, so we can't discern it or even question it.
Yeah.
So this was something that was super powerful to me. And when I started first looking at all the thoughts that I was holding in my mind about COVID or political things, or, my fear of war that was triggered with COVID, I could see that the thoughts had, really sense them. They had color, they had frequency, they had power, they had determination. That I listened and paid attention. I could see they had this incredible ability to feed into my emotional body.
I'm just admitting people
okay.
There's people. I have to press a button to make people come in.
So I could feel that it was affecting my emotional body, and all of a sudden those feelings of love were contracted, right? And fear, uncertainty, anger, resentment, and then judgment. And then I could feel how it was going into my etheric body, and how this etheric body, I could feel like I was paying attention to the meridians of my body, and how it was really affecting me on such a deep physical, spiritual level. And then, of course, our bodies, we respond to it, we contract, we twist, we fold, and therefore our crystalline potential antenna is tweaked.
Yeah.
distorted.
Yeah.
And then we become totally resonant in this feed of information.
So, question, what is the solution? How we respond to the information, or unplugging from the collective consciousness?
Well, first I realized that we have to be aware.
So that's the response.
Yes, that's the response. That usually we think this is just us, but we have to realize it's not just us. It's thought forms that we are responding to, and it goes so deep into our feeling body, we feel it's us. We feel it is our mind.
It feels personal.
It feels very personal.
So there's identification.
Total.
So
Total.
first step would be to not be identified, understanding a thought is just a thought, a
Yes.
feeling is just a feeling,
Yes.
and it is in most cases it's not even personal.
Yes.
I just want to step in here, and I want to because when you talk about this, I quickly just want to describe some scientific facts.
Oh, good, because you know I'm not about science.
Yeah, so I want to kind of anchor that in. Science has found out that the thoughts we have is directly linked to the magnetic field of the earth. And the magnetic field of the earth is directly linked to the magnetic field of the sun.
Yes. Oh.
So what happens on the sun, and this is mainstream science.
Mm-hmm.
It is undeniable. What happens on the sun will affect how humanity feels that day. Our thoughts and emotions are influenced strongly by the sun flares, sunspots, sun flares, etc.
Yes.
Whatever what sun cycle we are in. There's these 11-year cycles and all stuff. So we are magnetically in thought form, collectively connected, all of us. Like we are all plugged into the matrix. So when you ask yourself, where does a thought come from and where does it go after you thought it? Well, now you know it's in this field of the magnetic field of the earth, which is connected to a higher body of energy as well. So we should not take anything personal. This is cosmic.
Yes.
This is a cosmic event. This is planetary, solar star. It's a star thinking through us. And so we should not take things personal. And usually when we get a thought, our own projections upon it, because we identify with it, it's like a prism. When the white light comes in and you see it's getting fractaled up into all these rainbow colors, but in reality it's just white light, but it's coming in all these colors, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get an impulse of a belief, of a thought, and then we apply all our beliefs and projections upon it, and it becomes filtered into becoming a very personal thought. So we're having these personal thoughts and we think it's ours. It's not. And another thing also science found out is,
especially if we have a real big charge on it.
Exactly. The more we identify. And also science found out that they found out that about 10 thoughts a day are actually original thoughts in an average human being.
Maybe.
Maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. And so the rest is repetition.
Yes.
We're just repeating the merry-go-round.
Yes.
So I just want to say that so people can kind of get an understanding of it is a field and we are in it, and we are just the transducers of it. We are just transmitting.
Perfect.
That's
Thank
all.
you. I
Okay.
love that. That even helps me to understand more. If I could just share with you, when I first started looking at my thought forms and I could feel the weight of them, Josh, how heavy they were and how much pain they were causing me. I could feel that my mental body was like, it had gravity. And I couldn't feel that expansiveness connection to the universe.
So your true nature got covered up because you are lightness,
Yes.
expansiveness,
Yes.
And so when you experience anything other than that, it feels unnatural.
It felt very unnatural. And all of a sudden I felt like I was under an umbrella. I felt actually it felt like at the end of my mental body, I felt like there was a very thin layer of calcium.
Calcium.
Calcium. I don't know why calcium came to me, but it was like,
Calcification.
yeah, hardness.
Yeah, rock.
Yes.
Like stone thing, yeah.
And I could go around it and connect to the higher.
Yeah.
No problem. But for it to stream, the interface was disconnected. I couldn't get through the ceiling of my mind.
So it's very interesting. You, who are so conscious about this, can see these things, and you have to put some effort into going around it and still tap in, right?
Yes.
So imagine what the average person is dealing with. Like, they can't do this stuff. They're not seeing these things. They don't have that sensitivity.
It feels hopeless.
Yeah.
It feels very, very
living
hopeless.
in that calcification all day long.
Like I see them as fleas in my mental body, or an umbrella over me that is my world. And I can't see outside of the umbrella. And what's interesting is that we look to the news media, whichever one we're plugged into, it doesn't matter. I have not seen a news media, the one that I look at too, that is positive.
No.
It's always affirming the negative. Yeah, I'm right. See, this is happening. Yeah. And when I even want to disconnect.
I have to look
people
in. Sorry.
Yes, when I want to disconnect, I realize that I'm almost addicted. You know, it's like there's something inside of me that wants to feed my belief systems.
Oh, so you get addicted to the bad news?
Yes. And the goodness is you get addicted to anything that's, like that affirms your beliefs.
Yes. This is a big topic.
Yes.
This is huge because believe it or not, people are actually addicted to pain.
Yes.
People are addicted to suffering. They are actually, so the mind is set up in such a way that we want to support and sustain identity above all. And even if that identity means suffering, you will still sustain it.
That's right.
Because this is all you know.
Yes.
So
and we believe it.
So we are addicted to the sustaining that identity, meaning our belief systems and our thought forms. And if I think new thoughts today, who am I?
That's right.
So I'm going to get scared. So I'd rather just think what I normally think. And so that's an addiction. And so even if you are suffering.
Let me add something here. So if you let go of all your thoughts and you go into no mind, your thought forms will go crazy. Because if you stop looking at them and they stop existing, they stop existing.
Yeah.
So they'll do anything
to get your attention. I know there's people listening right now that as soon as you start meditating, your mind becomes even more active than even before you tried to start meditating.
Yes.
And this is a common experience for people who are learning to meditate, is that things are actually going to get worse. And so they're sitting there, okay, now I'm going to be quiet and still, and suddenly, and that's because the mind senses that there is a danger here.
Yes.
I'm going to be shut down, and I don't want her to shut down or him to shut down. Why? Because they may discover that I'm not the one in charge. Isn't
it awesome? And so they go, please feed me.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep you busy.
Yes.
I'm going to talk nonstop to make sure you don't have a quiet moment to discover who you really are.
That's right.
So the mind.
I really felt that, Josh. In a moment, I thought, oh my gosh, if my thoughts stop, who am I? What will happen to me? I was like, where will I go? And I really felt a panic.
Yeah. And on top of that,
thank goodness I saw that.
I would say there's a deeper layer also, because one thing is you can stop thinking, and so you're quiet.
Yes.
But you can still maintain the belief systems like dormant in you. So they can
yes.
sit there and still be safe, even though you don't think. But so there has to be also this level of inquiry, like, or looking into in a way where it's like, what if everything I think I know is wrong?
Oh, I know.
And what if...
Oh, say that again, because that is a really big one. Say it again.
What if everything that I think I know is wrong? That is huge.
Yes.
Because that's a reset button.
Yes.
And now you're in free fall.
Yes.
And there's no bottom.
Right.
That's one thing. And now let's open the openness with another question. What if there's something that I don't know, and if I knew it, it would change everything? Right?
Right.
If there's something that I don't see, there's a blind spot or something, right? But if I knew, or if I saw it, it would change everything. Everything. So not only now you reset, but you opened up the door.
Yes.
Let's see it from there and see what happens. Boom, sit with that. So you don't know anything. You have no idea. You're letting go of all of it. You're really like new, like a little baby. You just came into this world. You're sitting here for the first time ever, brand new, reset. All the houses, card houses, everything has fallen and is burned to ashes, and is blown away in the wind. There's a blank canvas. You have nothing to hold on to. You don't know anything. You don't know who you are, where you're going, what's going on in the world, what the world is, anything, nothing, nada. And then with this feeling inside that there's something, and if you were aware of it, knew it, saw it, anything, it would change everything.
Yes. And that's what they fight against, our thought forms.
Yes.
There's a big war going on.
Yes.
Yes. Evolution, new consciousness, or staying where we are.
Yeah.
And I know that most all of us are really anxious to move forward.
And let me describe that calcification you talk about.
Yes.
Because the magnetic field is our thought forms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, thousands of satellites are out there in space now, right?
Yes.
Beaming down. What I'm telling you is it's AI thought forms. Mm-hmm. It's artificial intelligence thought forms that is beaming down, preparing this human body to become a cyborg. Mm-hmm. You are tapping into seeing that calcification of the satellite prison planet entrapment.
Wow, that's probably true.
Yeah, and you can go beyond it because you are who you are, and you step out and see it for what it is, metaphysically.
Yes.
So unless we learn to unplug and step beyond like you do, we will be prisoners of this artificial intelligence created mind.
Yes.
This hive mind. It's not a unity mind, it's a hive mind. There's a difference because in unity, you still have individual consciousness and uniqueness. In hive mind, everybody is a copy of everybody.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yes.
And that's the creation, what they're doing, this the artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
It's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, there's something that happened that was really, really helpful for me to understand what's going on. And in Bruno's class, he does a reflex class, baby reflexes. And I've been in his class, I've listened, many times. And all of a sudden, the last time he taught the class, it's like the first time I heard it. The very first reflex that we have, Josh, at 5 to 7 weeks is the fear paralysis reflex.
What?
That's what I thought. I mean, I'd heard it a lot of times, but it didn't sink. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I took that to meditation. And
you mean as a fetus in the stomach?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
5 to 7 weeks.
Wow.
So if your mother has any kind of fear, shock, trauma, it's like it goes into your body and you go into a reflex of fear paralysis.
Wow.
Which locks us in to a particular posturing. And what happens, it shuts down our solar plexus. Fear, right?
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah.
So this was amazing. So I got really excited about this.
Yeah.
And I was in meditation and I was feeling as babies, as that first 5 to 7 weeks prior to that reflex, is like we are this union of cells growing, and somehow our consciousness is still so connected into that universal God feed, right? And here we
where
are.
there's nothing to fear.
Nothing to fear. And we're open and we're there and we're hearing the rhythm of our mother's heartbeat, or experiencing that, the heartbeat. And imagine if she's calm and in love, we listen to that and it's like, whoa. And if you want to talk about magnetic fields and peace and flow and energy, it's like we're just God state divine beings.
Pure bliss.
Pure bliss. We know what bliss is. And then it happens. The first hit.
First
of
shock,
fear.
first trauma.
And I'm telling you, we never come out of it.
Yeah.
Because we have never been down-regulated. No one has ever looked at it. So that we hold a structure that takes us totally out of balance and union with the universe. So when I'm looking at that,
well, talk about primordial trauma for humanity.
Isn't that amazing?
And it's built into our physiology now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just built in. And I go, why would that be the very first basic foundational reflex that we have? Why?
Could it be for survival?
It could be for survival, but if we didn't have that and we had survival meant something that we just stay in that beautiful realm of beingness and bliss, then we would create that in our consciousness and the world would not be a world.
So
that we
why do you
need to
think
survive.
we have it?
I don't know, genetic engineering or manipulation or something, you know.
So I mean, I just read a book on the ancient Sumerian,
I love that.
all that stuff, and there's no doubt we were made by these.
It's proven.
I mean, we are. There's a lot of ET stuff going on inside of us. So it makes me wonder. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. Is this something? Does animals have the same?
This I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't gone there yet. I haven't researched that.
Okay.
I've just been kind of like paying attention to the human experience here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just wondering, why would that be there? Well, let me put it this way. Whether it's there by divine will or not, it would be a good thing if we could let go of these traumas.
Yes, this
Like
is
instantly.
this is my goal.
Yeah.
So let me share something else what I saw. When I started to look back at the mental body and the fear that I was holding and how my fear through my judgment, I have, you know, like we all have judgment about what's going on, right?
Yeah.
There's the big players that we have judgment against.
Yeah.
We have the people that are responding in the way that they respond that we have judgment against.
Yeah.
And therefore, every time we contract, we plug in like a feedback loop with our judgment and our anger about it, our resentment, you know, whatever we feel is now feeding the collective consciousness, which is making things worse.
Yeah.
Right. And what I was starting when I was looking at plugging in, you know, that word kept coming. And all of a sudden I could feel right in my solar plexus. I could feel like there was like something plugged into me, and like there was like this very specific fine line that was like went deep into my body like a wormhole. Now this, I am not sure what it is, but what I started to feel from there is like I started to see like if you have an infection, that there's legs to the infection that anchor, you know, on the tendons or the bones or to an organ. And I was seeing the same thing, Josh, that this artificial, this attachment was anchoring one to my uterus.
Wow.
One to my perineum, one to the back of my heart. No, those were, and one to the back, to the bottom of my brainstem.
This is where entities enter. They come from behind here.
Isn't that interesting?
And I'm sure they can take over your heart from behind as well, shut it down.
Yes.
So
and then there's like a plug in the back of your heart too. You can feel it coming out.
Yeah.
So don't let me lose my train of thought because this is weird. So so you have these like, would you call them tentacles?
Yeah.
That are locking us into place. And what it does is what it seems like. I've been working with some very psychic people, and what we're seeing is that this thing, this entity, plugs into our solar plexus, and it feeds off of our solar light. And what happens is that it becomes a feed hole instead of a radiant light, the center of our universe inside.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm feeling is that when I open my solar plexus, when I want it to heal and I want it to connect, I open to the sun. So that's interesting you said that. So when I feel the sunlight in my solar plexus, it's very, very healing. But what I'm doing is like I'm paying attention to the attachments. And I noticed that I had a lot of it. I could feel a lot more on my left side. I had no feeling in my right side.
Interesting.
And the reason why is because it's so numb and so shut down that I had no feeling or any awareness. And I work with a woman in Iceland, and she said, "Oh my gosh, Alaya," she said, the right side of your solar plexus is like cement." And I go, "Yeah, I can imagine that."
Yeah.
So I've been going inside, and we've been working with that and bringing light and healing there so that
Is that liver area?
No, not even. It's not in an organ.
It's just energy on that side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can imagine it affects my liver.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't finished all my attachments yet. I'm doing one at a time, mm-hmm. so that I can like become aware of it so that we can release these. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting. It's like what we're doing is like looking at this, I think it's a matrix. Yeah. Some kind of entity matrix, and just seeing it. Mm-hmm. You know, I see you. I can see.
What happens when you say I see you too?
It starts to soften.
Yeah.
It starts to dissolve. It starts to open. And if you start feeding it light and really consciously speak to it and consciously send light into it, there's a deep response. Because again, everything in the universe wants love. Mm-hmm. But it believes that it is what it is, and it doesn't fit into that paradigm that it could ever receive love.
Imagine living on a host that you are scared of will discover that you are there.
Yes.
So you have to live in hiding.
Yes.
And steal energy like a thief.
Yes.
Your entire life is based upon that. And you know you're doing nothing good.
Yes.
So what kind of creature, what kind of thoughts will you have about yourself as a creature?
Not good.
Not good.
And those are the ones that I didn't want to feel. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So not only that, so there's this, there's the abandonment from the host, like from the you could say the mother, you're the woman, so you're the mother of this, you're holding it, and so she doesn't even want to see you. So imagine how this entity is feeling, how this being,
very desperate
and sad
and parasitic
and like, what's the point of my life, right?
And I have to take, I'll never be given. That's a very big one. I have to take and steal because I don't deserve, or I will never be able to be a part of something bigger.
And I'm afraid to be discovered with what I do.
I have to hide.
It's kind of like a criminal who is, let's say there's a criminal stealing money from the corporation he's working in, and he's trying to hide that, and he's doing it over decades and decades. And he doesn't even feel good about spending the money because he knows how he got it. And he's constantly looking over his shoulder. He's afraid to get discovered. And he's kind of stealing from the company that is feeding him, giving him a salary at the same time. It's kind of like, what kind of life is that?
It's not a good existence.
No, it's not.
But if you could imagine that everything is holographic, that what's on the inside is the outside. So how many people feel like we have to kind of like force our way, or to take something, or to, it's like, we just can't sit back and just open and know that we're loved and we're going to receive everything we need in the world, and we're going to come together and share in joy, creating something amazing. There's always this place, this is mine.
Yeah.
Don't touch mine. But if I could get a little bit of yours,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not good. And nobody wants to admit this, because these are like really not very nice thought forms.
Yeah.
And we think they're us, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're
yeah.
shamed.
Yeah.
And we bury a lot of our shame and our guilt in our lower pelvic,
Yeah.
on the pelvic floor.
So it's very interesting, the solar plexus.
Solar, isn't that
But
great?
we always talk about the sun is in the heart. The Christ consciousness, the sun is in the heart. And so we have the sun in the heart and we have the solar plexus. But in between are we having the diaphragm. And I feel,
Ooh, diaphragm.
yeah, diaphragm is huge. That's why breath work is so powerful. But it reminds me of the Mayans talking about the underworld. The world, and they also have these cenotes where they go into the ground, inside the earth, and there's water, and they do human sacrifices and all kinds of things a long time ago. But they talk about the underworld and then the world of the living above, and the human body, for me, the way I see it is the lower chakras like solar plexus and just below the navel, and then the root chakra. Those are the very human aspect of us, the 3D, the physical body, and a lot of emotions and all these things. But then as soon as you cross the barrier of the diaphragm, you start moving up into the more spiritual aspects of human life. So anyway, that's how I see it.
Yes,
so, but I'm confused about the solar plexus, and the heart is the sun too, according to many traditions. So what do you think of that?
That's really a beautiful thing, because what I realized is that because our solar plexus is shut down, that is, our hearts are not being fed. And there's the plexus, the plexi, the neural plexus between the heart and the solar plexus that is not ignited. So that it's the separation. And when
wait, this is huge.
Yes, it is.
This is huge. It's a separation, which is why people's spirituality never comes into practical reality.
Thank you.
Because we can have all this knowledge, but we don't seem to know how to apply it in this world.
That's right.
Because the plexus is missing.
Yes.
Has been.
Absolutely.
It's dead.
And who talks about the importance of the solar plexus? Nobody.
Nobody.
It's like hidden from us.
It is.
Hidden from us. As soon as we went into that first reflex, it's hidden.
So it's been traumatized initially, originally, even at week 5, 6, 7. 5 to 7. Shut down, boom.
Yes.
You now cannot spiritualize matter.
No.
You cannot become a spiritual being in physical form, because you just burned the bridge. You destroyed you broke down the the pathway.
You got it.
This is huge.
It's huge.
It's massive.
And when I do dialogue between my solar plexus and my heart, they don't know each other.
Oh, wow.
Who are you?
Yeah. So we have this fairy tale, make-believe spiritual reality where we think everything's we know how things should be, and we're looking around, we don't understand why it isn't.
That's right.
Because that world hasn't even spoken together. They can't, they haven't even done the communication.
This is amazing. So the first time I was introduced to my perineum, this woman had me ask my perineum questions. And afterwards I was totally exhausted. I thought, why am I so exhausted? I slept for 4 hours, Josh.
Yeah.
Trying to struggle to connect to this perineum thing. And so
I love this conversation. This is awesome. I hope you guys are enjoying this, by the way. Sometimes I even forget you guys are watching. But this is a great conversation. See, this is one of these moments where normally I'm thinking, oh man, I wish I had this on live event, but we are having it this time.
Yeah.
It's good.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
So when she had me discover this perineum, I started doing HCT with it in my meditation. So I went in there and I felt the heaviness of it and the darkness, and I gave it eyes.
Yeah.
And what I saw, not only eyes, I saw a finger. And this finger said, do not go there. Do not ever go there.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, wow, gold mine.
Yeah, yeah. We have to go there.
Yes,
Now we have to
gold
go.
mine.
We have to go.
Yes. So I started opening up to my perineum, and what I found is in like this lower world
Yeah.
is like it's traumatized with guilt and shame. If you
Yeah.
have guilt and shame, we put it there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I've heard so many people like, I don't have any guilt or shame, right? Not me.
But that's because they're maybe living here and they're not even knowing that what they're
Yes,
having going
it's
on.
numb.
They don't feel it.
It's numb.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Completely
Yeah.
shut up,
Yeah.
inundated.
Yeah. So you can say, I don't have a problem.
Right.
And you really truly mean it. It's just because
It's
you can't
honest.
feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just got a morphine injection. You can't for your whole lifetime. And so you don't know anything else.
Right.
That's interesting.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
And so, like, as women, I know for myself, all the women mostly have like a torqued uterus that we cannot fully be mothers because we don't have the pure vibration of our own uteruses.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, it's just so powerful. And the perineum, this is like where the convergence of all our fascia. So this point
Okay,
is,
this is big too.
yes, it is.
This is the conversion of all our fascia.
Yes.
And just so people know, fascia is this white stuff you see around muscles, and it's in between organs everywhere. And it's actually all connected to itself. And they found out photons of light can move through the fascia. It actually is. And so this is the fiber optic highway internet communication system of the body. And so you're saying the solar plexus is this grand central station
Yes.
of this information highway communication
Yes.
system
Yes.
in the body.
Yes.
The solar plexus, not the heart, the solar plexus.
Yes.
And I remember when I did education like a lifetime ago in deep Swedish deep tissue massage therapy and all stuff, they couldn't stop talking about fascia. Everything was fascia. And the single most important muscle of them all was diaphragm. He was touching my neck and he said, I'm moving your diaphragm right now. And I'm like, what? Like, I was 20 years old. And but this is, it's all connected, and the diaphragm is kind of the grand central station for all this, like the physical experience.
Right.
But solar plexus chakra is the stick. And actually, by the way, I just want to say, I'm throwing it out there. The Pleiadians star system is the solar plexus chakra of this galaxy. So
why does that feel good? Okay.
all souls that are incarnating in this universe, they are actually shuffling through the solar plexus chakra of the universe, or of this galaxy, which is they have all been through the Pleiadian star system.
Wow.
So there is an incarnational importance of the solar plexus. And I just want to add one more thing also. Very, very long story, very short. I did an astral journey myself in my 20s, where I just flew out in the universe and my body was dying and all that stuff. And I turned around and I saw a long silver string from my solar plexus all the way back to my body. And on this was drops of water. And each drop I looked in and I could see was a lifetime I was living in this very moment, past and future at the same time, thousands and thousands of them. So there is a thread going on from the solar plexus that has to do with all these incarnations we're having. I know this. It's not connected to the heart, it's connected to the solar plexus. And so every time we take physical form, the solar plexus is the center of it. And also all martial arts is done from solar plexus, by the way.
Some good wisdom there.
Yeah. So just wanted to throw that in.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's so amazing. And
so basically we are shut off.
Yes, we're very shut off, and we don't even know it.
So another insight I'm having with this is
could you hold that to finish the fascia? what's so important is that when we receive the photons from the sun,
Yeah.
that they start streaming through the fascial system,
Yes.
and they have little anchors into each cell. There's a little plug-in, a tendril, whatever you
There's
call
a
it.
connection. Yeah.
There's a connection so that every cell through
Gets
the
that light.
fascia is connected to the sun.
Yeah.
So I thought, wow, this is really amazing. So if you think of the biophotons in the cell, and you think of the photons of the sun, that there's this interface
Yeah.
of our own light and the light of the sun, which is super important, which is very much connected in again to the light of our solar plexus. Light, systems of light and neural pathways.
This makes sense. So physically, it is the solar plexus.
Yes.
It is the sun chakra.
Yes.
Because otherwise all the fascia wouldn't meet here if it wasn't for the fact. So
well, the convergence point of the fascia is in the perineum, which is our anchor into the earth.
Yes.
Which is our magnetic, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, exactly. And which is why we're disconnected from nature.
Right. And if we can't feel Mother Earth, we can't feel the torture that we give her.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. So we basically shut off, get numb, and think all is well.
Yes.
The house is on fire, but you can't feel the temperature.
Right. That's right.
This is this is profound, because I mean, what is the biggest problem on this planet? It is that we don't spiritualize matter. We don't apply what we really truly know in our hearts. Mm-hmm. We don't apply it in the world, in our lives, in our daily lives, with ourselves, with everybody else around us, and including how we deal with the world.
Well, if you look at the heart doesn't know the mind, and the solar plexus doesn't know the heart, and the right side of the body doesn't know the left side, or the upper doesn't know the lower, we're completely fragmented.
Yes.
It's like nobody knows nobody.
Schizophrenic.
Yes.
Fragmented.
Yes. Totally.
Compartmentalized.
I'm serious, Josh. I've been doing visualization and dialogue for 30 years.
Yeah.
And nobody knows nobody.
Yeah. Nobody knows anybody. Not even ourselves.
Nobody knows nobody.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Even our relationships.
Yeah.
Because we don't know ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't have that interface. And when we don't have that interface within us, then we don't have the interface to our etheric body, to our emotional body, to our mental body, to our causal body, to the universal mind, to universal consciousness.
Yeah.
Everything is separate. And it's the mirror.
Yeah.
So the key is, I feel like, if we can find our way to unify, to be so aware of everything that is inside of us, our feelings, our thoughts, and to recognize them. Sometimes I'll have a thought and I'll sit back and I go, I see you, my thought. I see you. I see you believe who you are. I see that you evoke anger in me. I see you. I accept my anger. I can feel my anger. Forgive me. Forgive me for not seeing who you truly are. Mm-hmm. Forgive me for not seeing your true nature, your potential to be love, because I know that I am holding you into a lower frequency because I believe you are a lower frequency. Amen. So, it's like my dialogue's always different. That just came up, but it's like, I keep talking to these thoughts that are just like not serving me or the world. And we all have them. Mm-hmm. But it's really interesting when I look at any kind of news media or any kind of teacher or any kind of authority on history or medicine or whatever it is, the authority, when you watch them, if you pay attention, you can see the entities.
Yes.
And how they get like puffed up and right. And, it's like unquestionable authority. And it's like, wow, I can see your thought forms,
Yeah.
And I can see how we're all victim to believing what we believe. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot of heart and a lot of courage to start questioning everything and really looking at things for what they are. Because I know that the more we judge and the more we get angry about things, the more we're just feeding the negative world.
We're just enhancing. It's a self-replicating, it's just building up itself.
Yes.
And we're feeding it.
Yes.
By believing it and also paying attention to it all the time.
Yes. So you already saw this, Josh, because the thought forms, they plug into our solar plexus, but there's in the back, it feels like there's a lot of like thought forms in the back that are kind of like.
So the chakras we have, they actually go all the way through the body.
I'm just looking at this. I mean, bringing more information, but what I'm sensing is that there's like tunnels,
there's
lines of communication.
Door.
There's a back door.
Yeah.
And that entities can come in and siphon off of that in the same way that this plug siphons off of our solar plexus. Is the way it siphons into all our organs and our life force.
Yeah.
And keeps us in a false posture that nurtures negativity.
Yeah.
So
what
are we going to do about this, Josh?
So you just recently discovered this block of concrete numb area in yourself.
Let's say so 10 days ago.
Yeah. Okay. So you discovered this 10 days ago. What are you doing? Like, can you describe your own process of how you're healing that, or becoming conscious, or opening it up, or whatever? Yes. Can you just describe like stuff you do?
I had a couple really big cries, because once I started going in that, and it started to soften, and I could feel all the pain.
Okay, so that's step number one. Feel it.
Feel it.
Feel it.
Let yourself cry. I just lost it a couple times.
Okay.
It's like, let me just lay on the floor and feel this. It's
okay. So you just went through
hard.
it. Yeah.
What else can you do?
Yeah. No. You got to do what you got to do.
But after that, I started feeling so much lighter, and my mental body is like really shifting, and that calcium thing is really lightening and opening, that I'm getting streams of light through my mental body into the higher realms, so that I don't have to jump over. It's like,
so it's a straight path.
Yes, opening.
Yeah.
In process. I'm really a girl in process.
Yeah, but we all are. We all are. Anybody who claims otherwise is full of it. I always say, even Jesus had to go to the toilet. If you have a body, you're human, period. That's just how it is, So it's just how it is. So we're all in the process. So, okay, you feel it, you cry, and Bruno is running around seeing you crying suddenly, and then he just knows you're in a process or something, or what? How does he handle it?
Well, he's in his own process, so it's really just facilitated my process.
Okay, perfect. I guess you get better at this with age. Like when you live together for many years, then things are okay. Today is that day.
Yeah, and we know what's happening. It's just the belief that something else is happening is our only problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you feel it, you cry, you get sensitive around, and then what? You send light.
I'm really looking at my solar plexus and really paying attention and being in those tendrils and how they attach, and being there and just letting them know that I see them and I forgive them. I love you. I understand. I am you. You're free. And it's like I don't feel so bound. I never even realized how much pain I had in my solar plexus when something would happen. I could feel it for a second, but then I knew how to turn it off.
Like you did 5 to 7 weeks ago for the first time.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like you go, no.
Yeah. Frozen.
Yes.
Paralyzed.
Yes.
Let's not check this out.
Yes. And it's really amazing to bring so much love and so much presence into every little tentacle.
So just so people understand, you have to do this again and again and again and over
Oh,
and
yeah.
over. It's not like you do this one time and it's game over and then it's, moving on and la la la, right?
I've been doing this every morning for about 2 months.
Yeah. And you're
And
still working on it.
yes, but I'm getting little pieces at a
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
it's growing, and I'm understanding, and I'm having more compassion, and I'm looking at people, like I said, the authorities, and understanding that they are really controlled by entities. Pay attention, you can see them.
Yeah. And so as your own journey progresses, do you feel more grounded to earth?
Oh,
Do you
yes.
feel more spiritualizing matter, like the connection? Do you feel the heart and solar plexus is beginning now to start having a?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you just even hold your solar plexus and your heart, and you feel the neural pathways between them.
I definitely feel
Can
there's
you?
a big wall in between.
Yes.
I don't feel, I mean, I can feel connection here between heart and throat.
But the disconnect is there.
There is a disconnect, but it's not so crazy. But here, this is so very, like, so plexus and heart, there's this thing going on. Yeah.
And if you just imagine that there's like a right structure and the perfect design between your solar plexus and your heart, that it does have memory of that. And just to hold that beauty of that perfect highway of light, connecting the two, and I just been holding that and looking at it. And I've also been dialoguing with my heart and my solar plexus to, to heal that disconnect, which I could do. I don't know if they want to go there, but
Let's take there's a lot of questions right now.
okay.
So I'm gonna read some questions and then we see
Okay.
if there's time for it. Okay. Okay, there's a lot of stuff.
A lot of questions. I can imagine. I have questions too.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can find some answers. Carol says, what are the kinds of thoughts that the white light from the sun is transmitting?
Oh, you mean our pure divine thought? Is that what
What
she
are the
means?
kinds of thoughts that the white light from the sun is transmitting?
I was looking at that yesterday, and because we have been so focused on the negative thoughts of our mind and cultural thoughts and planetary thoughts, that I haven't paid a whole lot of attention, which is a part of this process, of what is the universe, the pure universe, really trying to say. Because we haven't developed the listening tool to attune to it, to even listen, because we're too busy feeding our negative thoughts. So thank you for that. I will work on that. I will definitely work on that. Is something that is a great question.
Okay. Lynn says, isn't this like Eckhart Tolle's pain body? Are you familiar with it?
No.
Okay, I am.
Great.
So
that's for you.
I would say it could be the same we're talking about. It could also be this. I feel this has more nuances, more details to it. Eckhart Tolle's pain body is basically, he's just describing it as like every time your ego gets triggered, you have the contraction, and that's your pain body that is reacting, and you're also attracting situations so your pain body can be activated on and on again, because we are addicted to it. Right. So we need to attract the drama. So if you want to stay simple about all this and not going into too much detail, one thing that I always have applied in my life since I learned about it in my 20s is that people are always asking, what's ego? And my teacher, he always said, every time you don't feel natural, every time you feel contraction, that's ego. And I would say Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body in very similar ways. And I would say you just talked about it in the beginning here in very similar ways as well. So we can even boil it down to make it that simple. If you just want to catch it, every time, contraction, or you feel discomfort, uncomfortable, like not natural. If you're not in flow, if you're not feeling relaxed, relaxed, expanded, and in flow, because that is your nature, anything else but that is ego. And it's just what it is. I mean, let's not judge it or anything, but it is what it is. It just is what it is. And so
it gives us a context for
yeah,
life.
yeah, it's just what it is.
Yeah, and we can change it.
Yeah, but I said, here's the thing. It is a dream. This is all a dream, but I like nice dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just do a nice dream. Like, Louisa posted a link to only positive news published in magazine. Yes, it's called yesmagazine.org. So there is a magazine with positive news only. And, you know, I actually had a thought a few days ago. Would people watch a movie if the movie was only about good stuff in life?
No, because we're not addicted to that.
We're not addicted. So let's say we watch a movie with a happy family and having fun together, and the husband and wife love each other, and they love their children, and the children are loving their lives, and they're having fun. And there's 2 hours of movie going on like this. Would we watch it? No. Why? Because we want drama. And
We get it.
we want drama. We want drama. Oh man, it's hilarious. Carol says about the mainstream media bad news. Have you considered getting rid of the TV? Yes, I haven't owned a TV since I moved away from home when I was 17, 18. I never had a TV.
Oh, I gave mine up in 1978.
Okay.
But then computers came.
Well, you gave up your TV before I moved away from home.
Yeah.
So you beat me with a few years. We are so glad we did. If we are not careful, we get caught up in the bad news on the net. So it's very interesting because I got rid of my TV and I never heard the bad news. People came and told me, haven't you heard we got a new prime minister in our country? It's like, no. Like, we just had an election. You didn't go? No. I was totally oblivious to what's going on. But the internet has kind of taken over now, and more bad news is out there, including from the alternative media. Like, I get emailed every day videos about bad stuff about the COVID-19 and all stuff. So I don't even need a TV to get all the bad news. Now I have the internet. So I have to consciously now stop watching this stuff. Like, I have to just, like, at one point you realize, okay, I think I get it. I know the agenda.
Right.
They're trying to kill a lot of people, and they are very creative in how to do it, right? And so that's it. You know, kind of just need the headlines. Okay, so that you don't need to be told all the details every day, all day long, in great detail. You don't have to become an expert in virology. You don't have to become an expert in genetic modifications. You don't have to become an expert in weather modifications. You don't have to. You just can logically make the conclusions. Of course, they're going to play on these instruments of power, and that's what's going on. So
I think the thing that's most what I don't like about it is that the more time we spend on that, it takes us out of the time that we spend on solutions.
yes.
And that's why I spend so much time trying to hold that space, my God space, for just finding good solutions and being honest and opening up and healing.
Yes.
So.
And the question is also, what kind of energy are you feeding the field?
Yes.
Because no matter what, we're feeding the field.
Right.
So what energy are you feeding? Are you going to sit 6 hours right now for 6 hours learning about genetic manipulations? Or are you going to sit for 6 hours looking into the sort of plexus chakra and heal and release and figure out and understanding yourself deeper and better, and send that to the field?
Yes.
Because others will pick up on that too. Yes. Somebody in China is maybe sitting doing the same thing. And you guys are connected and enriching each other's experiences. You know, there's a lot of talk about inventors. Many inventors are inventing the same thing in different places of the world at the same time. And that's because the field opens up for it, and some people are just picking up and they will do it. And so I'm done spending 6 hours learning about virology. I don't need to know. I'm done with it. Like, so the bad news, I'm not, I spend a lot of time listening to enlightened teachers these days. And just, there's this Indian woman, I
Yes,
sent you the link.
I watched her last
She's
night.
totally awesome.
I love her.
And so I spent a lot of time listening to that. And it opens my heart. I feel good. I'm smiling more. I'm more nice to people, and I'm feeling back to sender. And because of that, like, for example, there was drama with some woman and all stuff, and she was very, upset. And we had to come here and sit and talk. She had to come here and sit and talk, and I just had nothing but love and acceptance. And because I'm in that state, because I'm in that field, and so everything was just beautiful, right? And it all got really well solved and all stuff. And that's the life I want to live. I want to live in that field. Like, let's have a good dream. Let's just do a good one. I'm not saying being in denial.
That's right, because there's a lot that we have to touch into.
Exactly. So when the pain comes, you got to look.
Right. And, whenever I do a session or someone does healing work with me, excuse me, I always say, please let me see that which I have not been able to see.
Yeah.
Always. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we hide ourselves well.
Yeah. Yeah. I fully agree. Yeah. I've had a lot of, I don't want to talk too much about all that, but I had some crazy journeys myself where really bad, negative, evil stuff came up. Very bad. And I was just like, okay, I guess I gotta do that. Okay. And it's just like, okay. And it feels like you're gonna die. But you do it anyway, because we are lovers of truth.
Yes.
So do you want truth more than you want comfort?
Well, what these thought forms do is they convince us that if we don't sustain them, then we will die.
Yes.
That we need them.
Yeah.
And we believe that. So therefore, it's not so easy to let them go.
Yeah.
This is what keeps us operating.
Yeah. It's like a heroin addict that can't drop his heroin.
Yes.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
What a world.
Yes. It's getting better.
Yeah.